Why does it fucking do that?
I don't know.
How you doing there, Fester?
I'm good. Your computer wasn't working and my earbuds weren't working.
Yeah, and it stopped, and all of a sudden I went backed out and backed in, and then it's like I can't hear shit, and I don't know.
That's okay.
I don't know. I'm just glad that we're. Yeah, it is a Thursday, and I'm glad that we're still here on Instagram. I thought that would have fucked up immediately on that one. So we're here.
We're here. We're here.
He's not chewing gum. He's got a ball mouth.
Nope. I wouldn't.
Jimmy Farrell. In case. Right. No. In case you're late to the fucking ball game, Jimmy Farrell, it was because the computer shit the bit, and I had to do it again. Okay, you understand that, or is that too complex for a Yankee Islander fan? Okay, I don't know. Here, let me say it again. The computer shit the bit, and I had to do it twice.
Yep.
Yes, I'm in a mood.
We're all in.
How you doing,
We're
Tom?
all in. I'm good. So I've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Good. I'm just going to shut up and let you talk.
All right. Well, you asked me in the first question.
I'll interject occasionally.
Okay. So for the first question, you asked, what does Raider Fester think about the new Raiders staff? So I'm not going to highlight every one of them, but I'm just going to go from oldest to most recent from the ones that I've done. I've got like 7 or 8 of them here, and including one that was just announced yesterday. So it's just now becoming official. So we'll start off, and I'm not even going to go with Kubiak yet because, again, you're going to see and hear a lot about Klint Kubiak over the next days and weeks and months, and he's gonna make his bread the way he's gonna make his bread. So we will see. I mean, he's already got the pedigree of being on a Super Bowl winning team, and of course that comes with a lot of high expectations as well. But we'll see. Let's start with Mike McCoy, the assistant head coach. I really like this hire because, again, you're talking about 23 years of coaching experience. He was a head coach with the Chargers. So there's going to be a natural rivalry built in already between the Raiders and Chargers. And that's going to be good. You want to have people that are familiar with your division opponents. And he's got familiarity with both the Chargers and Denver. He was with Denver from 2009 through 12 and also in 17. So he's got familiarity with both of those teams. Now, he was with the Cardinals in 2018, nothing to really write home about. And he was with the Carolina Panthers from 2000 to 2008. So, again, he's got a lot of experience. But the thing I really like is the previous head coaching experience with the Chargers and what he can bring to the table in terms of experience and also knowledge of your division opponents. So that's the first one. The second one that I want to talk about is Rob Leonard. Now, Rob Leonard, I'm really excited about. And again, some people are saying that this is a Max Crosby hire, that this was the guy that really Max Crosby was pulling the strings for, but I would beg to differ. I would say that if we did not nail down Rob Leonard and give him the defensive coordinator position, he was going to be a defensive coordinator somewhere. Somebody was going to give him the opportunity. I think he's proven himself with the Raiders, despite the fact that the defense has been struggling. He was with he's been with the Raiders now. This will be his 4th season. He spent 3 seasons previous. Prior to that, he was with Baltimore in 2022 and with the Dolphins from 2019 through 2021. Again, you've got a young guy who's got a lot of fire, and I think he's got a lot of skill. And I think he's going to do a good job of bringing that line together and chirping at him a little bit and getting them motivated. I think that Max Crosby is of the same ilk as Rob Leonard. because again, Max Crosby's got a motor that doesn't stop. And in seeing Rob Leonard coaching, I think he's got the same style. And I think that will bode well for the defensive line and also for the defense in general. So we'll see. I'm hoping that all the work that he's done with the defensive line will equate to better productivity overall than what Patrick Graham had. Now, again, you've got to bring players in, and the players have to really mold to a certain defensive philosophy. So we'll see what that defensive philosophy is that Rob Leonard has. I don't know how some of the existing pieces are going to fit. The big question mark I have is Tyree Wilson. Where does he fit in? And again, I'm still hoping that the Raiders can trade him and get some type of draft capital in return. Tyree Wilson came in, and he was supposed to be this freakish athlete with this massive wingspan who could just devastate and wreck edges. Well, he's turned out to be a pretty slow guy. He's just a space eater in the middle, and they're paying way too much money to have that happen. It's just like another Cleve Ferrell. When they got Clee in, they penciled him as a defensive end, and he ended up making most of his time in through the defensive line. And I think that's what happened with Tyree Wilson as well. This is what happens when you try to fit a square peg into a round hole. And again, I think the Raiders have been guilty of doing that too many times, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. So part of that falls on the scouting department, but part of it also falls on the sort of the defensive coordinator and what they envision for their defense. So those are the first two. So what do you think, Jack, about Mike McCoy and Rob Leonard?
Mike McCoy was the first immediate hire by Kubiak. Knocked it out of the park. You got a guy that, like you said, and I'm just going to reiterate a lot of your points. He knows the division. He's got head coaching experience, which is somebody that you're going to rely on as a new head coach. He's actually going to be, I don't say he's going to be pulling the strings, but he's going to be setting the tone of, I'm sure that Klint Kubiak's going to be like like shadows to him, or McCoy's going to be his shadow, basically in his ear saying, this is what you should be doing at this point. And he's already doing that, I'm sure already. This is what are your ideas? Yeah, that works, but I would do it this way. By the way, Emac, he is an offensive guy. He's an offensive coach, okay, which is another godsend in the fact that Kubiak's going to be calling plays and Mike McCoy is an offensive-minded coach. So that's what that plays in with him. But again, he has head coaching experience. Actually, recently, last year, he was the interim head coach with Tennessee once they fired Bill Callahan's son. So he's had recent head coaching experience from last year. So it's not like he hasn't done it before. So that's a godsend. Rob Leonard, as you said, it's not for Max. Just put the Max equation out of your head. It's because he fucking deserved it. Okay? He's up and coming, hard charging. He's like what Campbell was saying with the Lions. So he's going to bite your kneecaps off. Okay? He is hard. He's motivated. And he's a missile shot out of a fucking gun. And so people will gravitate to him. The defense will take on his personality. And now you just got to get the guys in there. And you were talking about like Tyree, Tyree is probably, if they can get a ham sandwich and a box of popcorn for him and a soda, they're going to take it at this point because you're paying way too much money for a first round pick. And yes, again, I don't gloss over shit that I said in the past. I was very, very happy with the Tyree Wilson pick. I was, okay? Could we have had Carter out of Georgia? Not after what we'd had with Henry Ruggs, okay? So that was the reason why they pivoted to Tyree Wilson. He's got all the ability in the world. He just hasn't shown it yet. Okay. And it's going to be up to either the Raiders to get it out of him, or just like Matt Marinovich said, just let Tyree go. And like I said, if they get a ham sandwich, a Coke, and a stripper, they're going to take it for Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, I totally agree. And here's the thing. I talked to somebody in Vegas, and they said that even with the problems with Henry Ruggs, and of course that was just devastating to the town and the organization, as well as a black mark on the NFL. But they said even beyond that, the Raiders might have even thought of considering maybe to take Jalen Carter. But then after the thing with Josh Jacobs, that was strike two. People that kind of went under the radar. Well, and that was kind of dusted under the rug. But that would have been a bad mark. And then to have Jalen Carter in, if anything bad had happened, that would have been strike three, and pretty much everybody would have thrown them under the bus. So again, problems end up following. I can't tell you how many people, and in fact, my wife and I had this discussion recently. If you're going to go out partying, if you're going to go out drinking, get somebody to drive you, or get an Uber, get something. I mean, this is stuff that you don't mess around with. Some of these guys and athletes and people in general think, oh, it's not going to happen to me. I can handle this. I can control this. But no, you have to be responsible all the time. And this is just one of those unfortunate things. Unfortunately, in Henry Ruggs' situation, he caused somebody to die, and he's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life, regardless of whether he gets another shot at football or not. But I digress. I mean, I wanted to kind of throw that in there. I hope that Jalen Carter continues to progress and do good things with Philly, but I hope that the Henry Ruggs thing has become a cautionary tale for lots of athletes, and they just regardless of how much potential you have, you just got to stay away from it. All right, Jack, let me change gears here. I'm going to hit you with the next three now. All right, so here are the next three. Offensive coordinator Andrew Janico. And he is the guy who I think is going to be in the crosshairs pretty much all year, just like Klint Kubiak was as offensive coordinator. As the new offensive coordinator coming in, he served as quarterback coach for Seattle last year. So they bring him in. He benefited from Sam Darnold's wonderful performance. Prior to that, he worked with Derek Carr in New Orleans. I don't think that's anything to brag about. Prior to that, he worked with Justin Fields in Chicago. And I think Justin Fields started to come on toward the end, but again, I don't think that's anything to brag about. And he worked with Kirk Cousins toward the end of when Cousins came over from Washington. Again, he had a good year, but again, I think that was a benefit of the entire offensive system. So Janico's got a lot to prove, and he's going to have to do that with a young quarterback. All signals point to the fact that Mendoza's going to come in as a rookie. It's going to be a new offensive scheme. You've got Brock Bowers coming back from injury. You've got Michael Mayer as an established tight end, even though he's only in his third year. You've got an unproven wide receiving core, which I'll come back and address later. And you have an offensive line that better do something. We got to get it put together. That's the main thing. So Janico is going to be a product, I think, of a good offensive line and a good mix of run and pass, depending on what they do with bringing in a dependable wide receiver, and then what they do in the draft, and then what they're able to do with Genty and whoever assists him. So Janico's not going to be able to do this alone, and he's going to lean heavily on a guy who I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, which is Rick Dennison, the new offensive line coach. But let me move on real quick. Joe DeCamillis, who is the special teams coordinator, and all I can say is thank God we have somebody who has some experience in special teams. This is something we have needed for a long time. This guy's been 34 years in the NFL. He has 32 as a special teams coach. So he's had more special teams coaching experience than some of these players have even been alive. And most of these players have been alive. The last 2 seasons, he was with the University of South Carolina. He's been associate head coach and also special teams coordinator. But again, this is a guy who's going to make it happen. He knows special teams up one side and down the other. He's going to know which guys to put out on the field and where to place them. That's the most important thing, I think, with special teams. It's not just throwing 11 guys out there, but it's knowing what the lanes are, and it's teaching lane stability and lane maintenance. When you go running down the field, and I played special teams, and I was a gunner. And of course, as a gunner, I just was going for the guy with the ball. But the coach would always pull us to the side all the time and say, stay in your lane. Let the guys that are going to get down there first, let your speed guys get down there, and everybody stay in your lane and then collapse toward the ball. Too many times I've seen the Raiders just go down and they just kind of peel off from where the runners are. Or it looks like, yeah, they crisscross or knock each other off the play. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Raiders knock other Raiders off of a guy who was going to make the tackle. And I saw it happen twice in the Commanders game when you and I were there in Washington. But I'm glad that we have D. Camillus, somebody with some bona fide special teams experience, which I'm so happy about. And this is one of the moves I'm really excited about. The next one I'm going to mention is Travis Smith. Now, Travis Smith is the defensive line coach. He was the defensive run game coordinator last year in Tennessee. Prior to that, he was the D-line coach in Chicago in 2022 through 2024. Prior to the Bears, he had 10 seasons with the Raiders, starting back in 2012. So he comes back to the Raiders. He started under the Reggie McKenzie era, and he actually helped tutor Khalil Mack as a rookie. So again, that's something that a lot of people don't know. So Travis Smith comes back to the Raiders. I think under the tutelage of Rob Leonard, I think he's going to do some great things. But I think Rob Leonard can actually learn a few things from his defensive line coach, Travis Smith. I think the two of them are going to have lots of conversations together in terms of how they can piece a defensive line that's going to combine rookies, second-year guys, because they've got some second-year guys in, and then a couple of vets. So it'll be interesting to see how they piece this thing together. But I think you're going to have lots of discussions between Travis Smith and Rob Leonard. I think you're probably going to see those two guys in discussions with each other more than any other defensive coaches on the team. Not to say that the others aren't important. I just think there's going to be a lot more back and forth with these guys than anybody else. So what do you think of those three, Jack? You got Andrew Janico, you got Joe DeCamillis, and Travis Smith.
Okay, well, first off, there was a guy that was making comments, and I put him in timeout. Okay, thank you, Steve. I don't know who you are, but I put you in timeout. Somebody just banned you, so welcome to the show, and you're welcome to say comments as long as they are conducive to discussion. Okay. We are fans of you too, garbage person. Okay, well, thank King Wise. If you put him in timeout, whatever. Yeah, I whatever. I mean, like I said, I put him in timeout and somebody banned him. So again, such is life, folks. You guys know I don't mind. I don't mind people coming in and talking as long as they are talking for a point. Don't just flap your gums to listen to your friggin' garbage bullshit be spewed. If you want to have a conversation, I'm all for it. So if he wants to come in as another person, that's fine. Point being, I've taken it from people, but have something relative. Let's go to Joe DeCamillis. And it's funny because at the time I said, other than Tobe, who is the Kansas City Chiefs special teams guy, I said Joe DeCamillis is probably the best special teams coordinator for years, other than Rich Bisaccia and Tobe. And what was it, like 2 days after they hired Joe DeCamillis, then Rich Bisaccia quits the Packers. I'm like, Rich, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days on the other end, you probably could have came back to Vegas. I don't know why, but that's another subject entirely. But if you want to have a good special teams coach, you got one with Joe DeCamillis. Actually, who is it? Richie Riche was saying, hey, I'm not a real big fan of Joe DeCamillis. I'm like, Okay, Rich, got it. And Richie has got some good points. There's also Richie's I think it's kind of screwed up in this point, but that's me. But he knows special teams. Whether he was successful in it the last couple stops, that has a lot to do with the players not doing what they're supposed to do. And the word you were looking for is integrity, lane integrity. That's what the word you were reaching for. Stay in your lane, keep your lane integrity, go down, and don't move until you see the ball carrier coming towards you or away, so that you go to the ball after you do your full lane integrity. Because there are reverses. And if you don't see where the guy is, and then all of a sudden you go for him, and then the guy runs right back into the lane that you just left for a fucking touchdown. And that's what you were talking about when we were in Washington. The Raiders had like zero lane integrity. They bunched up, they ran over, and God forbid the guy makes a couple of juice. It wasn't even a reverse, I don't think. It was just the guy just moved, and he went right up the gut. Hey, thank you there, Mr. Landstein, 808 from Hawaii. Good to see you there, sir. Thank you for coming in. I'm like one subscriber away from 2,500. It's like 2,499. I'm like, come on, folks, give me another subscriber. 2,500 just sounds a lot better. Anyway, but yeah, lane integrity, and we're gonna have that with Joe DeCamillis. He knows his job. As far as, and here's the thing that we both need to learn: is it Janico or Janoko? I don't know. Janico. I've heard it pronounced two different ways. Okay, so it is Janico. I said that. People said, no, it's Janoko. I'm like, okay, well, then it's Janoko. I thought it was Janico. That's the way I said it, but people said I was wrong. And I once thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken. I'll just say that. I once thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken. But anyway,
you're going to hear it pronounced both ways, I'm sure, during the season.
Until somebody knows what the hell it really is. And that's the thing. Right. The point is that he's not a glorified quarterback coach, because he is a offensive coordinator, but obviously the offensive coordinator is Kubiak. So it's kind of like he's going to be Kubiak's extra guy. Okay. He's not going to call offensive plays, but he's going to be in there to assist in the calling of the plays. He's going to be in there to be in the assist of being the quarterback whisperer. I don't know if we have a quarterback coach identified yet, but until that is identified, it's Janico's job until he gives it to somebody else, because he's the OC in line diagram, but he's not. But he's going to be very helpful in getting the offense to be implemented, okay? Because, again, once you're the head coach, and you can't do everything all at once, okay? And, yeah, thank you there as an SMVP. Thank you there, Shipmate. Yeah, we missed him already. So we already got somebody that missed Kubiak from being the Seahawks guy. But, yes, Janico is a fantastic hire. Now, Thomas was the third guy?
Travis Smith.
Did I get that right?
Travis Smith.
Okay. Did he play defensive end for us for like years ago?
No.
No? He sounds familiar. But I mean, I know that he was one of our coaches to have helped with the early spurts of Khalil Mack. And I've kind of softened my opinion of calling him 50 who, because Khalil Mack has shown a lot this year, the last couple of years, and whether he stays with the Chargers or not, I'll give him his due. I wasn't really happy with the fact that he just didn't want to play for the Raiders, so I kind of got pissy about that. But here's the point: Khalil Mack is going to be a Hall of Famer one of these days. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he's more of a shoo-in for a Hall of Fame ring than fucking Bosa. I'll put it that way. If you give me odds, who's going to make the Hall of Fame? Bosa or Khalil Mack. It's going to be Khalil Mack because he was defensive player of the year. I don't think Bosa ever did that. But getting him back in here, and again, running the defensive line, which is what Rob Leonard's job was the last several years, he's graduated. He's graduated up to being the defensive guy. But those two guys are going to be the spearhead of that defensive line surge because we haven't really had that. Rob Leonard's had done such a great job the last couple of years, but it's incumbent upon the line to do it. And I saw during the end of the year last year where you had guys like Lealu, and you had guys like the year before with Kayvon Chason, who actually unfortunately went to the Patriots, but those guys started to do the work. And it's just going to be a matter of not of doing it uniformly, doing it consistently. And I think that those guys together are going to be the stalwart men driving that defense. So yes, very, very important for the defense right there. Those gentlemen working in tandem.
Okay, so the next two that I have are Matt Robinson, the safeties coach, and Zach Azani, the wide receivers coach. So Matt Robinson has spent the last 5 seasons working in Baltimore. He worked with the outside linebackers and also assisted the defensive line. He worked primarily with defensive backs in 2022, and he contributed at that time to the NFL's number 3 unit in points allowed per game, 18.5. I would love that. And defensive red zone touchdown percentage of 46.4. So again, he had the benefit of working for a good, solid Baltimore team. If you're going to learn defensive schemes over a number of years, Baltimore is a good place to learn. So I think you put some of those things in place. I won't say I'm really excited about this hire. I think he's got a lot of good experience, but I think as far as coaching up the safeties, one question is going to be, what do you do about Isaiah Polamalu? Do you bring him back? And if so, where do you place him? And again, do you bring somebody in young? Do you just totally reform this team? Do you bring in a free agent safety? And there's several free agent safeties out there. One of them is Kobe Bryant from Seattle. So there's a possibility that they bring him in. No, it's the other guy.
He got in a plane crash with his. Oh,
it's the other guy.
The other. Well, first off, may the first.
It's the
Kobe.
It's the COBY. It's the COBY, Brian.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, may the other KOBE rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
And again, I don't want Rasheed Wallace to be out there because he's going to get too many technical fouls as a tackle for the Raiders. But anyway, we got to figure it out. And like you said, Polamalu is what was it? We had like 2 strong safeties playing last year between Chin and Polamalu. Those guys are strong safeties.
Right.
None of them were free safeties.
Right.
And we need to find a true free safety. And until that happens, and I think it's going to help that we're going to look at who's available. If they bring back Polamalu is a very good strong safety. And it's just a matter of putting him in literally in the right position. And Chin is still under contract. So it's not like we're losing him unless we cut him or trade him. So Jeremy Chin's coming back. So just a matter of him playing the position correctly.
Yeah. So if they can figure out what to do with Polamalu,
but it'll help. Like the guy, the guy's got a lot of experience. Or at least he's got the game management experience on paper. It's just a matter of bringing that to the Raiders. I agree. Hey, it's better than having another fucking clueless son of a bitch like Brendan Carroll. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that again? Yeah. At least this guy knows what the hell he's doing, in theory. Okay, for the safeties. Go ahead, there, T.
So we got Matt Robinson, and then Hank Azani, Zach Azani. Sorry, the wide receivers coach. He was with the Steelers in 24 and 25. Prior to that, it was with the Jets in 23, the Broncos from 2018 through 2022, and then the Bears in 2017. So prior to that, he had 18 years of experience at the college level. It is worth noting that in 2018, he helped develop 3 first-year receivers for the Broncos, and one of those guys, Cortland Sutton, became the very first receiver in franchise history to be named to the Pro Bowl in his second year. So he has a knack, and he's got a good affinity for working with young receivers. So I'm looking at Trey Tucker. I'm also looking at oh gosh, just to brain fart. Who's our 4th round pick from last year?
Thornton.
Thornton,
Kid from Tennessee.
I don't know why.
Thornton.
His name slipped my mind, but yeah. But Dante Thornton again is going into his second year. So again, if you can take somebody like that and mold him, but I'm also looking to see what he can do with Jack Besh. How Jack Besh progresses in his second year, part of that is going to be getting him on the field. And again, I fault last year's coaching staff with taking a lot of the young talent that we had and just not letting them play. So we'll see how Jack Besh develops. Yeah, right. And again, if he develops, Zach Azzanni could be key in that. So I'm interested to see what he does. And once again, I think Azzanni's got the potential to really do well. And of course, if he can take 3 first-year receivers with Denver and mold them into a good core, that bodes well for the fact that we've got a couple of young receivers who are coming back from their first year, and then whoever you may be able to pick up in the draft. You may be able to get one, at least, maybe more than one of Mendoza's teammates from Indiana. It could be late round picks. I think Surratt is going to probably be a second round pick, so we probably will miss out on that. But there may be a couple of others that you could get in the meantime. Now, I will mention the fact that Omar Young, the running back coach from the University of Iowa, he's got previous experience with the Bears, Patriots, and Browns. He's an Oakland native. He replaces DeLand McCullough. I'm not overly thrilled about that hire. I hated the fact that we lost McCullough. I thought McCullough was a really, really excellent running backs coach, and we'll see what Omar Young does. This will be his chance to step up. How he goes is going to really be dependent upon what Ashton Jeanty does. So many of these coaches are able to kind of make hay as a result of the fine performances of the players under them. So we'll just see what happens as Jeanty progresses in year 2. If he does really well, Omar Young may step up and say, "Hey, I was his coach." Okay, you get what you get sometimes. But the guy I really want to talk about, and again, Jack, we'll talk about this because this, in my opinion, is going to be what makes or breaks this Raiders team. And that is Rick Dennison, the offensive line coach. So he's been with the Vikings, he's been with the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans, the Jets, and the Broncos. He was 17 seasons in Denver, 7 in Buffalo as the offensive coordinator, and most recently with the Seahawks. And, of course, that translated into a Super Bowl trophy. Now, in 2018, his only season with the Jets, and this is something that I wanted to mention. In 2018, his only season with the Jets, we know how traditionally horrible the Jets have been. As the offensive line coach and run game coordinator, his group allowed 10 fewer sacks, 37, than it did the year before. So they progressed and gave up 10 fewer sacks than they did in the previous season, and that was protecting Sam Darnold, who set team rookie records for TD passes and gross passing yards per game. And that was for a very bad Jets team. So again, if you can do that with a bad team, that speaks volumes. Now, in 2017, as offensive coordinator in Buffalo, the Bills' offense ranked 6th in rushing, and running back LaShawn McCoy and guard Richie Incognito both received Pro Bowl recognition. So, again, you're looking at a guy who's done it, and he's done it well. Now, the thing is going to be piecing this offensive line together, and we'll talk about some of the potential free agents. I know we've got the Combine coming up, and the Raiders need to, in my opinion, draft not 1 but 2 offensive linemen. And need to bring in through free agency not one, but two free agents. I think that has to be the priority. If I'm the GM, that's the string. Those are the strings I'm pulling. And we've got the cap space to do it. And there are some other options. Even if Linderbaum ends up going with somebody else, we'll have to wait and see. Matt Marinovic said with Dennison as our offensive line coach, he may have even made Geno look good. Matt, I would don't hold your breath on that one.
Geno's gone.
Don't hold your breath on that one.
I can't remember who the source was, but somebody said that, and I don't know where this is coming from, but I was told that Geno's gone within the next week.
Yeah,
and I'm hope that comes to fruition.
He is not going to be leaving the building too soon. I think a lot of people will be happy to see him go, fans included. But getting toward the end of the season, the locker room wasn't real happy with having him around. So I think that's going to be the tread has completely worn off that tire. And I don't know where he ends up next year. I'll tell you what, I would love to see him go back to the team that originally drafted him and see him play for the Jets. I would love that because we play the Jets this year. I would love to be able to welcome him with open arms with our defense.
And he was drafted by the Jets, correct?
He was. Yep. And his very first game, as a pro was against the Raiders. Yeah. And it was a nothing burger.
And actually, the other thing about Geno is that Geno is the quarterback that ended Eli Manning's streak when he was with the Giants, because when the Giants played the Raiders and Eli Manning was benched for his consecutive game streak, who was there on playing the game for the Giants? Well, it was Geno Smith. So there's a lot of Geno Smith and Raider tie-ins together.
I think Geno Smith also is the only NFL quarterback to have his jaw broken by one of his teammates in the locker room.
I vaguely remembered that. What team was that with?
It was with the Jets.
Okay, yeah. I remember it, but yeah. So it's not like he's a well-liked. Remember, that's why they pay me the big bucks. That's why they pay me the big bucks. You're a clown. And Richie, good evening to you, sir. Welcome to the show.
Oh, there's Rich.
Figured I'd give him a shout. But yeah, I was told that he is out of here within a week. And what I was saying when the hope it is a post June 1st cut. So this way we can spread that money over 26 and 27.
Yeah. Well, they've got enough cap space to where I think just they just had to make the move and make it happen. So speaking of quarterbacks, and I will come back to this in a minute, the Cardinals and Dolphins right now, the Cardinals and Dolphins are looking at two particular quarterbacks. One is Malik Willis, who I think is going to end up somewhere and getting a lot of money, and he's going to have to step up. So I think he's going to get his choice. When you look at the free agents that are out there, I think he's going to get probably the best look and the best payday of any of the young quarterbacks out there. This free agent quarterback class has been characterized as a tired trove of veteran options. So that's not a real good moniker to be tied to this year's free agency class of quarterbacks. You've got Daniel Jones, who is likely to re-sign with the Colts, so they'd be crazy not to at this point because they have very, very few other options. I'm not sure that Anthony Richardson is going to be the guy. We'll see if he gets another crack at it. Aaron Rodgers, he's 42 and no. And I'll just leave it at that as far as he goes. Russell Wilson, he's a 14-year veteran, and once again, no. Maybe you can bring him in as a backup somewhere, but for him to even think about being a starter anywhere other than possibly with the Jets, I think it'd be foolish. Malik Willis, I mentioned already. Now, Marcus Mariota, there's a question mark there. He's got experience. He did well with the Commanders, stepping in Jalen Daniels' absence. We'll see. Will he get another starting opportunity? Could it be with the Jets? Could it be with the Dolphins? I don't know. It remains to be seen. I think based on some of the other free agent quarterbacks out there, I think Marcus Mariota could very well get a shot. You've also got Mitch Trubisky. He's a veteran, but he's going to have to resurrect his career just as a dependable backup somewhere. I don't think anybody's going to float out a starting job for him. And then, of course, you've got Brett Rippon, Carson Wentz, John Wolford. It's not a really good class of free agents for quarterbacks. So this is why I think a guy like Malik Willis is going to just back the truck up and get kind of what he wants. But Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to end up as a starter somewhere. That's how weak this class is when you look at free agents. Yeah. I mean, wow. I could see Jimmy Garoppolo. I could see Jimmy Garoppolo ending up in Arizona.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. To stay in the Southwest because the Cardinals are really hurting, and he can go from LA to Phoenix, and it's a nice area, and he can bring his stupidity skills of being a sun surfer over to Arizona. But yeah, I can see Garoppolo and just connect the dots, almost literally going to Arizona. Malik Willis is probably the best quarterback out there as a free agent, and he has a lot of ability. It's just a matter of somebody that needs to refine his ability. Yeah, porn star Jimmy. There you go. Jimmy G string.
I've also
heard Malik Willis, and remember Malik Willis also has a ties to the Raiders because the Titans drafted Malik Willis in the spot where the Raiders traded with the Titans to drop down a couple spots in order to get the guy that is our left guard out of Kentucky, the guy that's going to be a free agent this year. What's his name? That's on our team.
For which position?
Memphis. Sorry, guard. He played for Memphis. I said Kentucky. It was Memphis.
Oh, Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham.
Right. The Titans went up to the Raiders pick, drafted Malik Willis, and the Raiders dropped down to the Titans pick and drafted Dylan Parham. So there's another tie to. Yeah, because we didn't have round 1 or 2 because we gave up those picks for I don't remember, some guy who shills for Taco Bell.
Yeah. The guy that we had all the hopes in the world for, and he kind of let us down. When he came out, he lit the world on fire when he first hit the field, and then things just kind of tapered off from there. So, yeah. So here are the top free agents. I looked up on ESPN, and of the top 50 free agents, here are the 3 that they are saying that they're saying that the Raiders are going to get. And I disagree with all 3 of them. So let me tell you who they are. One is Jalen Watson, the cornerback from Kansas City. One is Romeo Doubs, the wide receiver for the Packers. Yeah, I saw that. And the other is Zion Johnson,
I saw
for the Chargers. And
I saw that in the same clickbait article. Okay, first off, the Chargers are not going to let go of anybody who's capable in their offensive line. They're going to throw money at him. Okay, mm-hmm. So he's staying with the Chargers. Okay, if he has any sort of capability in his pinky, he's staying with the Chargers and he's going to get paid. Okay, the kid from the defensive back from the Chargers, I saw it's possible, but we'd have to throw a lot of money at him. But if we're going to throw money at anybody, I'm hoping that we throw money at Stokes to keep him here with Porter under, him and Porter as a tandem, and then maybe get that other cornerback who maybe it's not as much coin, but yeah, that I don't see us going out. I mean, it would be great to take from Kansas City one of their better players, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But they're definitely the Chargers are not going to give up their guard. And Romeo,
in that same,
I don't see that.
In that same article, they have Tyler Linderbaum, who we have as our primary guys that we've circled, and we've talked about Linderbaum a lot. They have him going to the Giants. I could see that. I could see that with Harbaugh going there. But again, if we have the ability to put together an offensive line and have the weapons that they have, I think the Raiders are a good fit. And I think that they can do a lot to convince him to go ahead and sign with the Raiders. Now, if he does go to the Giants or somewhere else, I still think we may need to make a real heavy play for one or two guys, because I think we definitely need to come away with a center. I think that's a priority that we have to have. I've heard other talking heads talk about the value of a center, particularly for just molding your offensive line. So Connor McGovern, who's with the Bills, is my 1A. If you can't get Linderbaum, I think you lock McGovern down and you pay him. You overpay him if you need to. But here's a guy who can play both center and guard. And again, that versatility is something that you're looking for. So if you can have him play center, but also play guard. Now, again, if somebody should happen to develop your other offensive line, that versatility just means a lot. Okay. But there's another guy who's just come up on the radar who has both center and guard experience. And this is a guy by the name of Cade Mays. He is with the Carolina Panthers. So again, he's fairly young. I think he's a little bit of a grade below McGovern, but again, I think another good guy. So if you can't get Linderbaum, I think you put on a full court press to get either McGovern, who's my 1A, or if both those guys are gone, you bring in Cade Mays. But in any way, shape, or form, you got to get one of these guys. You got to get somebody in there, and then you can go ahead and say, okay, JPJ, you're a guard. So you got your center and your guard. And then, of course, if you have Caleb Rogers on your other side, you have your center and your two guards locked down. Then you've got Colton Miller already established at left tackle. I still think you bring in other guys. But again, that's the fundamental building blocks you have for this offensive line. So again, my first primary concern is putting the full court press for Linderbaum, trying to get him signed as quickly as you can after you get Stokes taken care of, because I think you get Stokes taken care of before he even hits free agency. You go ahead and you work that deal. You keep him in the building so that when free agency hits, that's already a foregone conclusion. That's already done. And again, Linderbaum, McGovern, love it if you could get both. If you could get both those guys, that would be excellent. If you can't, you get at least one of those guys. And if you can't get either one of those guys, then you get Cade Mays and at least lock down your center position. You still need to go ahead and get another offensive lineman. But again, that's my primary play right there. My 1A and my 1B, if you will. But I think you definitely need to bring in two offensive linemen, but that's the direction I would go at this point.
Yeah, and I put up the one that Matt Marinovich was talking about as well. And there's a third guy, because you got Edwards that Matt was talking about, Wyatt Taylor from the Browns that he's talking about. And there was one, again, there was a clickbait, the guard from the Steelers. And it's Asian Pacific Islander. I don't remember his name, but he's, big son of a bitch. Again, big Asian Pacific Islander, Muatolo maybe, but he's a guard for the Steelers, and he would fit the mentality of a C-man, hit man, move man, kind of like what we should be having with my boy Laki Tassi, who again, big guy, see guy, hit guy, move guy, and explode into guy. And and again, what you talk about with Rick Dennison, my God, if Laki Tassi has footwork, maybe they move him to fucking tackle. But let's get him at least worked in so that he can do something, because the man is what, 6'9", something ridiculous like that, and he can move and he wants to hit people. All he needs is a fucking coach to show him, see man, hit man, move man, keep your hands in here. And don't do this, do this. And as long as you're in the context, I know how to fucking play offensive line. I did it. So as long as you don't grab the son of a bitch and move him, you can actually kind of do this. And as long as they teach you how to do it, then that's the attribute. And Rick Dennison, like you were saying, all that experience. Remember, folks, if you don't know, Rick Dennison was a linebacker in the NFL for many years with the Broncos. Fantastic son of a bitch, hard-nosed, knows his shit. A line coach, yes. An offensive coordinator, yes. So he has the attributes. It's not just see ball carrier, tackle ball carrier. No, the guy has some smarts there. And he's a fantastic coach. So that is getting him. And I didn't realize he was going to be our O-line coach, but I'm like, hey, great, because it was all incumbent upon who the fuck we got. God, I'm cussing a lot tonight. Who we got as the offensive line coach. And with Rick Dennison, you can only get, that is the polar opposite. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking rake him over the coals because I can't stand his ass. Brendan Carroll is not even zero. He'd have to improve to be zero. He's like negative 86. And Rick Dennison is definitively 180. So that's what, 180 plus 86 was at 260. He's 260 degrees better than Brendan Carroll. A dead guy has a rating of 0, and Brendan Carroll has a grade of negative 86. So fuck you, Brendan Carroll.
Brendan Carroll,
years of coaching experience. Can't
Brendan Carroll in the starring role of How the Grinch Stole Football.
Oh, my God.
Now, Jack, I'm going to give you my wild card free agency pickup. Okay? Hot off the presses. This comes from me. This doesn't come from anywhere else. And this is a move that the Raiders should have made years ago.
No clickbait shit here.
This is a move the Raiders should have made years ago.
Okay.
We need to bring in 36-year-old future Hall of Fame linebacker Bobby Wagner.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. We've got some young linebackers,
and but
we don't have anybody really established. I think Bobby Wagner, a future Hall of Famer, can come in, put these young guys under his wing, and start to really help mold this linebacking core on the field. He's an ageless wonder. He's done it for years. The Raiders had an opportunity to bring him in as a free agent. I don't know why the hell they didn't when they had the chance several years ago, but I kept crying for them to do that. They didn't do it. He's continued to be productive everywhere he's gone. He's a great locker room guy. He's a great teacher. He's one of the more fundamentally sound linebackers that's out there, and he is available. So why not in the high twilight of his career, who can still make an impact and lead this team? And again, you've got Seattle connections as well. Still, although Kubiak and Wagner weren't there at the same time. But again, I like Bobby Wagner. I always have. And I think he's got a lot that he can add to this team.
I like that. And I'm going to add you have your 1 and 1As. If you can't get Bobby Wagner, and the only reason why this name comes to mind is I was flipping through the dials today and the NFL Network was on. And they were running an interview with Kyle Van Noy, who is another longer in the tooth guy that just has just drips of experience and locker room presence. Okay. I like Bobby Wagner as as that guy to come in, but if he ain't available, I'd take a flyer on Kyle Van Noy. Excellent. I mean, a linebacker / rush edge, or that tween guy. He can do both. And by the way, Kyle Van Noy can actually cover the fucking tight end, something that the Raiders have not been able to do for the last 35 fucking years. So,
right
there you go. Kyle Van Noy and Bobby Wagner definitely can cover people as well.
Yeah. As far as free agency linebackers, I'm not looking for a linebacker of the future. I'm looking for a linebacker now.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of guys that we can develop. There's plenty of guys we can develop. And there's plenty of guys that the Raiders have drafted and tried to put into a different position. Again, I think the Raiders have spent a lot of time trying to put square pegs in round holes. And it's worked a little bit, but for the most part, it hasn't. And the linebacking spot has been the primary area where I think they've been trying to say, okay, let's convert this guy. Let's convert this guy. And force them to be put, and Divine Diablo is a prime example. He wasn't a linebacker. Now he's transcended into a linebacker, but that's not where he really made his bread and butter. And I think he was out of position really to be put into that spot. He did probably better than I expected that he would, but again, not the guy that you would kind of hang your hat on as far as the linebacking core goes.
And I'll even go you one better. I don't know who SA MVP is definitely a Seahawk guy. And again, welcome to the show. I'll give you one better. Before Divine Diablo, there was a gentleman by the name of Tanner Muse. That was a safety that the Raiders tried to make a linebacker. And then when he couldn't cut it with the Raiders, he went to the Seahawks. So there you go. So it doesn't always work one way. Okay, Tanner
He went to
Muse
the Seahawks. He went to the Seahawks and ended up on the practice squad.
Yeah. So he couldn't even make the Seahawks. So that's pretty bad. But way that is. But yeah, we need. And I want to ask here, since we're talking linebackers, what about the Bergs? I think this is going to be the second year for one of the Bergs and the third year for the other Berg. Lindenberg, what I know one's Lindenberg and the other one is Eichenberg. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got Ike and Lindy. So what about those two guys?
These guys, in my opinion,
what are your thoughts on that?
In my opinion, these are good developmental guys. But again, I think I'm not sure that the ceiling is extremely high on either one. I could be wrong. I think they could be good, dependable pieces, but I'm not sure you have a star emerging from either one. Again, I think you have to have probably somebody coming in the next couple of draft classes, or somebody that comes in through free agency and really makes a big leap. I really don't see it. Now, I could be wrong. But I don't see either one of these guys making a big leap from one year to the next. They could be dependable players, but I'm not sure that you're going to get a real big bump up from either guy.
And this is a linebacker heavy draft class as well. If you need a linebacker, there's a shit ton of them in this draft class. In fact, why don't you go over, as I'm sure you've already done it, what are the so many players of this position is in the draft class of 2026? Because I think you've gone over that before.
Yeah, I did a couple of mock drafts, and there was one linebacker that came up, and his name is Deontay Lawson. He's a linebacker that was available, I think, in the fourth round. I believe fourth or fifth round. I haven't done another mock recently, and that's the only linebacker that I came up with. So again, I don't know. You've got LT Overton, who's an edge out of Alabama, who probably is going to go in the third round. He's one of those guys that could possibly be an edge / linebacker, kind of like in the same vein as Khalil Mack. There's a possibility there. But again, I don't know. I have to go back and take a look at linebackers again. I don't really have them pegging somebody that high because I've been really focusing on the defensive line and the offensive line, the two lines, O line and D line. And that's where I've kind of been focusing on more than anything else. But I think there are some good available linebackers in there, particularly in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. I think it just depends on what Kubiak determines as the needs of the team. Now, you and I, Jack, we kind of have our own thinking in terms of what the team needs to do to rebuild. It's not going to be a 1-year rebuild. Maybe they don't get a linebacker this year in the draft. Maybe they wait and get the best available linebacker next year. Again, it really depends on what their options are going to be. If you have a really stellar defensive line and you also have a stellar defensive backfield, your linebackers can kind of just hold the line and be somewhat dependable. I'll give you an example. Corey Littleton, and I mentioned his name and almost kind of in a blasphemous way. When he was brought over, he had all the hype in the world. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Littleton had an all-pro defensive line in front of him, and he had an all-pro cornerback behind him. If you have pieces like that, you can go ahead and just run anywhere you want in the middle of the field, and you'll be able to make plays. But what happened was Corey Littleton didn't have either of those, and he was just like running around like a chicken with his head cut off. He didn't know where he was supposed to be. He was chasing plays all the time. So again, if you have a good solid defensive line and a good defensive solid backfield, the linebackers, I don't want to say you can mask their play, but they will benefit because they can just kind of run loose and play free and go to where the ball is and don't have to worry about the rest. So until we get that defensive line where we can truly get that pressure on the quarterback, those interceptions that we have longed for just aren't going to happen. We can have a lot of interceptions if we get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Defensive line is where that starts.
And I think Corey Littleton is like the Bobby Bonilla of football. Aren't we still paying him?
Yeah, we are.
That's a joke, but I mean, yeah. But yeah, Bobby Bonilla is being paid until I think 2030 something by the Mets, and we're still paying on Corey Littleton. And he's been out of the league, or at least away from us, for 4 years at least.
He was. I want to say that he was only.
At least 3
I want to say he was only on the team for 2 years. I think they brought him in 2021. I believe that's right when they brought in Gus Bradley, and I think he was only there in 21 and 22. I don't think he was there in 23. Just 2 seasons in a wash.
And he got signed a 7, 8, 9-year contract. Oh my God! I mean, we're still. I think we're still paying him. I mean, honestly, that's not a joke. I mean, like I said, Corey Littleton is the Bobby Bonilla of football. We're still paying for a guy that isn't playing. Yeah. So that's the way that is. And yes, I just got a message from Peggy. So if you like what you see, we're going to be on at 7:00 tomorrow with Miss Peggy. So we'll bring your shots for Miss Peggy as well. But yeah, go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to say, I've got to back out now. I'm getting ready to travel down to North Carolina, actually. My mother is turning 90 years old. So going down to be with family.
Oh, right.
My wife and I were talking the other night. My dad almost made it to 91. And I was talking with my sister. There's not a whole lot of people on the face of this earth that can say that both of their parents made it to 90. So I'm one of those few fortunate people that can say that both of my parents made it to age of 90.
Well, partner, I'd like to live to see a number that starts with a 7. Okay, that's my goal. Okay, I made it to the 6s, and I was very happy about that. I'm about a month, a little over a month shy of 61, and I don't take any day for granted. Okay, so my next one, but my other goal is to make it to something that begins with a 7. And this way, the brand new hot tub, which I'm bringing over tomorrow for the lanai, which is going right over there.
Gotcha.
This wonderful TV that I'm looking at right now, nice 70-inch sharp, great TV, just not new. That goes on the lanai. So I've already made a hole for the guys to come in here and put the brand new TV up where that one is. It's not going to be hooked up to the Bose system, but, fuck it. I'm sure when it gets hooked up to the chairs that are Bluetooth capable, that fucking rock in a great way, not rock in a bad way, but rock for speakers, then yeah, I won't need the Bose system because they're going to be, God, I hate fucking heartburn. Ugh. They're going to literally be talking to my furniture. So I got that chair going, and then I got a nice Aquas. Sharp don't even make TVs anymore, but that's going on the patio. There you go. Can't wait. And then it's like I'll just the room that was fixed up will be put back into order, and then I will be. I mean, that's the last big thing, other than my travel trailer. That's
there
it.
You go.
My travel
there
trailer. That's next big thing. And once I get that, fuck everybody. Like the do you remember the movie? What was it? Blue Thunder, and the guy says, what's his initial? It was F.E. Murphy or whatever, or Murphy was actually Roy Scheider, but it was F.E. the British guy, and he's like, what's his initial stand for? And it was like, fuck everybody. So that's going to be me, F.E. Levy, man. Fuck everybody.
Well,
I'm be there, and I have all of my good toys that I can hopefully use.
That reminds me of something funny, and again, your listeners will probably get a kick out of this. So, and my first name is Frederick, and I signed my name as F. Thomas Jones. And so when I first went to work with the school system I am now, of course, that's my social security cards, F. Thomas Jones. So what they do is they go by your first name. And since my first name was an initial, for the last 2 years, I have been F. Jones. So the running joke with my kids is whenever they get upset with me in class, it's like F. Jones. So I told everybody my goal is to try to get a new social security card so I can actually be a name and not just an F.
Well, but we like you as an F. You're one of the best Fs we know.
F that.
But I know you said you have to leave. Yeah. F that.
Well, listen,
F
Jack,
that,
thanks so much.
We like you.
I will look forward to next week. Hopefully the earbuds will be working, and we'll get all the time lags out of the way. And I want to wish all the listeners a good, safe week. And hopefully my travels will take me safely to North Carolina and bring me back to the nation's capital. And we'll resume this thing next week. And of course, we got the combines coming up. And of course, I always thought the combine was that thing that threshed up all the wheat in the field. So this will be interesting to see what this year's combine will do.
Yeah, and our buddy Navman, who is from Indiana, will be up at the combine. So hopefully we can get some good reports from him. But I appreciate you. That is Peter Fester on this channel. We get all of his scholarly insight. I will let you go off There you go. Got to go out with the light bulb. So, Raider Fester, thank you there, shipmate. We'll see you for a next week's show. Oh, actually, no, there won't be a show next week because I will be in Las Vegas. I'll be in Las Vegas, but maybe 2 weeks.
We'll take a week off, and then we'll compare our notes after the combine is over, and get into free agency.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right. Well, listen. Take care.
Which Jimmy Farrell is waiting for.
We'll talk at you very soon. All right. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Yeah. Remember, F Jones, man. F Jones.
F Jones. Say it.
All right. Take care, buddy.
All right.
That is Raider Fester at his finest. Yeah, there is lags. I know. And I appreciate everybody being here. Willie Wayne and SA MVP. Is that what for Sam Darnold? I don't know. Raiders legend Zach Miller. I got he's actually on my I have my banner and I started doing it when Zach Miller was there and Javon Walker were here, and I got a big banner, and I have his. He was one of the first autographs I had on that. And it says like Zach Miller 80. But I got a lot of people in there, and Zach's there. I wouldn't call him a legend. Very good tight end, but he's not a legend. So we are almost up to 10 o'clock. I've been on for about an hour and a quarter, not going over 90 minutes. So if you want to come on the show, right now, right? If you want to come on the show right now to talk, I will put the link in here. Otherwise, I'm out of here because I'm going to watch some stuff that like the ladies, I hear I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here, but Alyssa Liu won the gold medal for the United States women's individual skating, and fucking great. And she's from the Oakland area, so great to see Alyssa Liu win the gold. And obviously the women's hockey. And when I went to all my appointments today, all I saw is like, fuck, the Canadians are ahead by like a shorthanded goal in the second period. And then I come back from my appointments, and it said USA wins in overtime. Great, great, great. I am so stoked about that. The men got two more games. Tomorrow they play. Is it Latvia? I know it's one of the Eastern European countries. I know the Canadians play Finland, and I fully expect the Canadians to beat the Finns. But the United States is going to have a hell of a game with I think they're ranked third. I think it's Latvia. But the United States has got to win, but you get past them, you're looking at least hopefully a gold, no worse than a silver by getting to that round. So let's go United States. Hit the link. If you want to talk to me, you got a couple minutes yet. And remember, tomorrow at 7 Eastern, a little early, but that's fine. 7 o'clock Eastern, Miss Peggy and I will be talking some of the same things that Tom and I were talking about, or Fester, I should say. The coaching staff, and getting the staff together is one thing. Again, next is getting the players. And I do really think that Spytek will take the bull by the fucking horns while reaching and squeezing on the balls and getting the right players in free agency and the draft. Matt, I know you think that I don't think he's our center. I think he plays much better as a guard. And he has the capability to be a center. He does. He won the Remington Award in college, but I think that he is more useful as a guard. And I will say that I'm an O lineman, but I will have at least Lincoln Kennedy agrees with me. So Lincoln Kennedy, yeah, I will say that Brennan Carroll couldn't coach a fucking high school tiddlywinks team. Yeah, there's a lot of hate there. Did you catch that? Brennan Carroll couldn't coach a fucking tiddlywinks team. But I think that JPJ should stay at guard. We'll find out. I mean, if we go out and get Linderbaum, if we get McGovern or Case Yates or Mates or whatever the gentleman was for the Panthers, then you can pretty much log in that JPJ is staying at guard. And for all these people that are saying we're going to trade JPJ to another team, why the fuck would we trade our most capable, and yes, I said this, our best offensive lineman is JPJ. Much better than Colton Miller. More upside. So JPJ hopefully stays at guard, and we go from there. But if you'd like to come in the show, you got about 5 minutes, because I'm going to be cutting it out in a little bit. As you have already said, if you've already heard, I've had my acid reflux all show, and it sucks. I got to go eat some Tums again. And Matt, I will agree here. Rick Dennison, he's going to get the 5 best guys. The 5 best guys that are here. And like I said, if we get rid of JPJ, that's just stupidity. But whoever the 5 best guys are, he's going to play them where they fit. And if Rick Dennison thinks that he's a center, he'll move him to center. But if we get all of these centers, if we get Linderbaum, and you were saying that Linderbaum has a high rate for whatever, for the give rate, I think we're going to be running a little bit. Pardon me. We're going to be more of a running team. I know this. And he's not signed yet. But if we get Mendoza, the best way to keep Mendoza upright is an offensive line that fucking charges out and gets hole and yards for Genty. That's where we're going to go. Yeah, and I agree, John Leon. He definitely needs to stay healthy. I agree with that. Best ability is availability, and he needs that. But yeah, Rick Dennison, when they said that he's our O-line coach, I'm like, because I've been, how long have I been pounding my fist saying the Raiders need an O-line coach of great, right? Great. And I said, at least something that's better than, no, I'm going out and say, we need a fucking great offensive line coach. And the fact that Dennison has OC experience and a great run game coordinator when he was doing that for the lowly fucking Jets and make that team better, man, it's instilling the 5 best guys that we have available. By the way, I want to show you something. These rings used to be very, very tight on my fingers. Tight as shit. Right? This one is a little bit, because this used to be my ring finger. This one, but it still comes off. Easy. I'm losing weight. I was talking to my Steelers coworker and a new running back coach who said he was a good coach from Pittsburgh. I hope so. You talking about the guy that we got to replace the guy that went left for college? I hope so. I hope so. I don't know a lot about him. I really don't. I don't know a lot about him. Fester was saying that he's from the Steelers. Great. He needs to come in here and perform. We need the running backs to do it. And salute to you as well. So hopefully that'll happen. But yeah, it doesn't look like nobody wants to pop in. That's fine. I'm going to put the link up one more time. If you want to come in to do, that's great. John Leon has been on in a while. Jimmy Farrell is always here to bust my balls, as he likes to put it. Get me in a tizzy. But it's the way it is. But hey, I can't help it when we have technical difficulties. And it always happens when I put Instagram in. When we put Instagram in here, shit gets wacky. Shit gets wacky. So we're up to 10 o'clock. So there we go. If you like to come in, you got about 30 seconds to do it. Again, tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern. Be myself and Miss Peggy talking the Raiders, the new look Raiders. Still got to get the players. And I think Miss Peggy is also of a mind that for all those people that are saying, and she might be a trade max guy. I don't know. She might be a trade max guy. I don't know. McRaider King, thank you for being here, shipmate. Good to see you. Good to see you. You're coming in at the very tail end. I guess what is it, 10? So it's like 7 out in the West Coast. So if you're coming in now, you're coming in, unfortunately, at the very end. That sucks, but that's just the way it is. If there was anybody that was on Instagram, I can't see Instagram comments. Okay? I have to change that. If you're on Instagram, you're gonna have to come in on YouTube so I can see your comments. But such is life. We're a little bit over, or we're going to be a little bit under in about 2 minutes. When am I never nice to Peggy, Jimmy Farrell? When am I never nice to Peggy? We agree to disagree. If I wasn't nice to Peggy, she would tell me in no uncertain terms to fuck off, and she wouldn't have a show with me. She don't need me. And Jimmy Farrell, come in tomorrow and say, "Hey Peggy, does Captain treat you like shit?" Go ahead and ask her. In fact, I'll put it in here. Well, I got her on the she's active right now. Okay, I can tell. I said, "Do Peggy? Does Jimmy Farrell says I don't treat you good?" And yeah, Peggy is cool, but we don't have. She has her opinion. I have my opinion. You have your opinion. And that's why we're all here, to voice our opinion. So until that, I'm going to bounce. Y'all take care. Again, I have some really, really fucked up heartburn. Thank you, Ed. See? Ed Winchell says, Peggy loves Jay. We do get along quite well. We do get along quite well. So we will see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern. I'm going to even make a studio for it now. So until then, y'all take care. I'm going to bounce. Join us tomorrow. And remember, tell your friends, I need like one more person to subscribe, and I'll have 2,500 subscribers. That's pretty cool. And it might not be as much as somebody, I won't say who it is, somebody who's like fucking ignorant that doesn't know shit about sports, but they have more subscribers. I don't care. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So I'm going to say. And no, I don't do TikTok. I don't even want to go. I don't even want to fucking venture into the TikTokers. Can't stand most of them. I like Samoan. I like Samoan Raider a lot. I like Joe. Joe I like. And they're the only ones that I can think of that I like. The Raider TikToker. Yeah, there you go. Clickbait specialist. Thank you there, Matt. I won't say their name, but I like Joe Morley. Yeah, and I like Samoan. Sure. A couple other ones. Man, I would say, boy, no, I don't want to say that because I would be called a racist cracker. But I will say to be tortured in such ways. Let's say waterboarding. There you go. Nothing racist about waterboarding. A lot of them should be waterboarding. Fucking A. Yeah, I said it. Fucking the ignorant fucks that don't know shit would do well to be waterboarded. Yes. Because I'm an intel guy, I can say. But thank you for joining us. Matt, you'll be there tomorrow. I know Willie Wayne should be. Jimmy Farrell probably will be. I know Ed will be. And MC Raider King, thank you for coming over. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Hang out with myself and Peggy. So until then, we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow.